Welcome to Twisted 1.17. This update, Beta 1.17, brings a ton of fresh new content to the table, and there's a lot to cover. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. There will be timestamps marked below if you want to skip to a certain piece of information. First off, we're going to be talking about the map expansion. The top right corner of the map was looking pretty bland in 1.16, so a lot more attention was put there. A whole river spanning from Indrusia all the way to the lakes below Hibbing was added, as well as two new towns, West Viroka and Nateville. Viroka is now a nice riverside town, and West Viroka is now more residential with bigger houses. Nateville is a quiet town that consists of mobile homes. In one of the houses, you can see Nate himself. I don't think it's a good idea to live here though, because it's all mobile homes and those get flattened by a relatively weak tornado. Moving to the west side of the map, there is now Kisota State Forest, located around the lakes. You don't want to get caught up here with a violent tornado, because trees will be flinged at you. Speaking of the breeze, you now take damage if you get smacked by it. Be careful when getting close. The map was not the only thing to get an upgrade. The storm systems themselves got a massive revamp. Storms are now much bigger in scale and look so much better and more realistic. The new storm complements the lightning really well, and it's really comfy sitting back and watching it. The rain bands look as good as always, but there's a neat new detail. When it starts to hail, the hail band gives off a ghostly green hue, and it looks really cool when there's large hail cores in the right light. Tornadoes themselves have also gotten a massive upgrade. Their structures are more tornado-y rather than just a tall, flat cone. Mesocyclones look more blob-like and there are numerous different shapes for them. Tornadoes now also have many different new meshes. Some of those new shapes include hourglasses, land spouts, and bulbs, to name a few. With these new meshes, tornadoes look more alive with how their sides are wavy and constantly swaying. The behavior of tornadoes have changed too. Their chance to shift paths more dramatically has increased, which gives them an even more unpredictable nature. Their sounds have also gotten a rework, where it's an intense roar which gets louder as it gains more strength. Tornadoes can even touch down at any wind speed, so you can probably get a pink TVS from the start if you're lucky enough. More on the visual side of things, when you're inside a tornado, dirt doesn't really fully cover up your screen anymore. You still have it get kicked up, but all that rain circling around now makes it near impossible to see 20 feet ahead of you. Rain-wrapped tornadoes are now even more dangerous, with them sometimes being completely invisible depending where you're at inside of the storm. Sunsets and sunrises also have this really nice purple hue to them, and it makes any chases around that time look awesome with that combination of green hail and gray clouds. In addition to the storm upgrade, you have to expect that the radar got new stuff too. Storms on the radar now look completely different than how they did in 1.16, where instead of it being roughly the same shape for each supercell, storms now have much more depth to how they are on radar. The telltale shapes and everything are still on the storms, but the storms themselves look more polished. A distance measurement tool was also added, which is super useful for seeing how wide a tornado was and how long it tracked for. It is very easy to use, as you just click two different points and the distance will show on the line. Tornado tracks can now be seen from the previous days in the server you're in. So instead of the track appearing after it dissipates and later disappearing, you can click on the day you want to go to and click on which tornado you want. This is very useful if you want to compare several tornado sizes from different days in the same server. The TVS on the radar also seems a bit buggy, but that's not the case. They are not going to be in the correct position for reasons which we will explain later. Beyond that stuff, there's a new team added to the game, Search and Rescue. This team is not there to chase storms, but rather to help victims from said storms. There are 3 stations across the map, one in Hazleton, another in Hibbing, and the final one in Chandler. With this team, there are 2 new vehicles for it, an ambulance and a fire truck. The ambulance has a top speed of 98 miles an hour on regular roads, 66 on dirt roads, and 25 on grass. The fire truck can go to 100 miles an hour on asphalt, 56 miles an hour on dirt roads, and 28 on grass. Both of these vehicles can have lights and sirens activated, which is nice to alert others that you're trying to get on the scene fast. This team isn't for show either. With this new update, NPCs are added to the game. These NPCs have a chance to appear whenever a stronger tornado hits a house or any populated area, and oftentimes they'll be wounded. If wounded NPCs are not tended to in time, they will die. Sometimes these NPCs will already be dead. You get a cash reward for helping wounded NPCs and counting the dead ones. This is all part of a game pass that will cost around 300 Robux. And fear not, you are still able to save the wounded NPCs without this game pass, but you will get a significantly smaller cash reward and the search and rescue team does it much faster. For chasers, several new chaser vehicles have arrived, as well as a price increase for the Div 2. These new vehicles include the rest of the Dominators and the Dow. The Dow, short for Doppler on wheels, is a truck with a giant radar slapped onto it. Remember how I said earlier that the TBS icon is misplaced? Well, now you'll be able to pinpoint where the tornado is with this. When you deploy and activate the dish within a 2.5 mile radius of the tornado, the TVS will be accurate for all players on radar, and the radar will update much faster. It has a minimum wind threshold of 95 miles an hour and a maximum of 105 miles an hour. This vehicle will take a whopping $650,000 out of your wallet, which is the most expensive vehicle in the game. The Dominator 1 is now the same price as the TIV 1 with similar stats of the TIV 1. It has a minimum wind threshold of 130 miles an hour and a maximum of 170. Between both of those vehicles, I'd say it's more of a preference between which one you like to get, but the Dominator 1 will always deploy faster than the TIV 1. The Dominator 2 is the last new vehicle for chasers. It has a minimum wind threshold of 130 miles an hour and a maximum of 185 miles an hour. It costs $150,000, a good midpoint for all the chaser vehicles. Besides new vehicles, some pre-existing chaser vehicles have been improved. The Dominator 3 now has a mesonet, and the TIV 2 has a more polished up model, which looks really clean. Mesonets on regular vehicles got new models too. They look really cool. And that should be everything added in Twisted Beta 1.17. Huge improvements all around, and I honestly feel that this stuff alone makes Twisted the best storm chasing game out there. Let me know your thoughts about the update down below, and if I miss anything or if I have any question, let me know that too. If you want to check out this game, link will be dropped in the description and in the comments. With that out the way, see you next video.
Hey, I'm feeling Frosty in this bitch, got the chocolate tint. They wanna ask me how I spin, said it's all in the rims. I'm daydreaming about some shit that I'm fixing to get. Like all I want is some M's in the G-Wagon Benz. I'm feeling Frosty in this bitch, got the chocolate tint. They wanna ask me how I spin, said it's all in the rims. I'm daydreaming about some shit that I'm fixing to get. Like all I want is some M's in the G-Wagon Benz. I get the posse the assist, hit the dish and they swish.